This episode of DG's Courtroom is sponsored by Draft, a daily fantasy app where your chances of winning are almost 3 times better than on FanDuel or DraftKings. On Draft, it's draft day every day. You can do a simple snake draft for one day whenever you want. Drafts take just minutes to complete. Download Draft now. Be sure to enter the promo code DFBPOD when you download to get a 100% deposit bonus. And with that, we are off. Welcome to the show for Thursday, January 19th, 2017. I am your host, the judge, Daniel Green. You can find me on Twitter at DanielAGreen1. A nice little tricky, dangerous, scary 5-game slate on Thursday, but I think it's intriguing, and we should have a lot of fun with it. On Wednesday, I hope all of you enjoyed what was a glorious 9-game slate. The judge, I don't think I saw daylight until maybe 3:30, 4 p.m. We're stuck in meetings all day, so this was maybe the first day all year I didn't get a chance to really play the main slate. I basically just played Chambers, and I threw my lineup in a couple other single entry tournaments, and then I played the Express slate for the first time, maybe ever, because I'm not a fan of doing the Express slate, the late slate, any of that stuff. But today just have some action on some of the games I was forced to. Anyway, before we start the show, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. The judge would be much appreciative if you could do that for him. Really easy to do. Do it while you're listening to the pod. Would be very, very easy. Also, please download the app Draft and use the correct promo code DFBPOD. Remember, if you download it and you cannot find where to put the promo code, just let me know. Find me on Twitter at DanielAGreen1. Also, you can email me via the website, dgcourtroomdfs.com, and together we will get that corrected for you. We did post a 5-day battle extravaganza, a bracket challenge on the app Draft. I think it was up early on Wednesday morning. Oh, great. I think the bailiff lost his ball, so he's going to go crazy if I don't get it for him. Talks amongst yourselves in this early, whenever you're listening to. It's about 4 a.m. right now here in New York. The bailiff is obsessed with these little balls that he likes to carry around, like wherever he goes. And it's super annoying because they obviously fall out of his mouth, and they will go underneath couches, underneath desks, drawers. And then, of course, he cannot reach. Now he's gotten a little bigger, so he can't go under the couch to get it. So I am the slave, and I must go get his balls. Ugh. That's why I have back issues, man. Getting old. Anyway, as I was saying, we did put up a bracket challenge for the app Draft. I think it was up early this morning. I'm so pissed because by the time I get out of my meetings, I look for it. I couldn't find it, so I think it filled up super fast. It was a $20 entry fee. 32 people were in it, and again, it's basically one-on-one snake drafts. 32, then round of 16, Elite 8, Final 4, and then the winner Final 2, and the winner takes home $300. I think the top. I don't remember how many people cashed in that. Is it top 4, top 5, something like that? But so I think it already filled up. So I'm already working with Draft. I just sent an email out to them. I'm hoping to get another bracket up, hopefully on, if not Thursday, by Friday. And I want this one to be bigger. I want like 64 people to be able to enter, and maybe the entry fee will be like $10. Also, maybe you haven't noticed. Maybe you have. It's been very sneaky under the radar. We've been testing it. There is a Judges Chambers League on the app Draft, and if you did download the app, and this is how I know some of you are lying to me when you said you downloaded it, you're automatically entered into the Judges Chambers League. And right now there's a draft every day at 6 o'clock, and anyone can enter the 5-team snake draft every day at 6 p.m. And draft it gives you a little prompt when it's open whenever you can enter it. Unfortunately, right now it's only 5 teams, so there's like 117 teams or people in the league, and each day only about 5 can enter. But most of you may not have noticed that you already are entered in the league, Judges Chambers. The problem is it's only right now 5 teams each day can enter it. So I'm working on getting something bigger so more people can enter that daily as well. Let's see. For Chambers on Wednesday night, again, because I was so busy, I didn't have a chance to open up a lot of chambers. I told the bailiff to do it. He was too busy carrying these balls around. So there was only one chambers on FanDuel, and we had one chambers on DraftKings. On FanDuel, the judge slams the door shut on all of you. I mean, which, go figure, the one day I barely was able to play at all. I think I built my lineup hiding under my desk and in a bathroom stall. Looked at Twitter for like 20 seconds, tried to figure out what the injury news was, and built my lineup that way. And I was able to take it down. I put up a score about 314. And yeah, I mean, go figure. And the only thing, I guess let me give shout outs to the, because no one cares about the judge. Let me give shout outs to second and third place. WTBA, Chili Cough 20. I'm pretty sure he's ranked in the power rankings, took second. And Berserko, Charismatic Enigma, who has been on a nice little string lately, finished third. So congrats to you guys. For DraftKings, let me give a shout out to Jay Zuno, who took DraftKings Chambers Glory on Wednesday night. Fogler 40 took second place, and Drewbert 61 took third place. I think those guys are all newbies to DK Chambers life, at least to cashing, I think. So congrats. Again, we're looking at posting our first power rankings for DraftKings Chambers probably Monday. I'm going to wait because I want a big enough sample size. But we are compiling the data as we speak, and hopefully that will be fun. And then we will, like FanDuel, we haven't had a best of the best in a couple of weeks because I was sick last week, and then I think the slate wasn't great on one of the days. So this week, Friday, there will be a FanDuel best of the best. I think we're going to wait off until next Friday to have our first DraftKings best of the best, which basically just like only the people who are at the top of the power rankings qualify for those tournaments. So be on the lookout for those. Also, I must update the power rankings for FanDuel, and I hope to do that probably Friday as well. Really quickly, let me say, because this was the first time I played the Express slate, so I'm not sure if some of you guys do this or don't do this. I mean, first of all, when I missed the main slate, I thought there'd be a slate that I'd be able to play the 8 p.m. games and like the 10:30 p.m. games, which would have given me still 5 games, and that would have been a decent slate. I mean, on Thursday we have a 5-game slate, so I'm not sure why FanDuel only gave me like an Express option, which was 3 games, or the late game option, which was 2 games. I thought that was bizarre. I mean, I think that's just greedy DraftKings, greedy FanDuel trying to make more slates, having more contests, rather than do what would be consumer friendly and make better contests for us, and have basically give me 5 games, a slate with 5 games. So that was annoying. But I mean, the Express, I wasn't a huge fan of it because the only thing I did enjoy was it was 3 games all at 8 p.m. So all the I could watch all the action at once, and it ended at 10:30. So I like the fact that the results were done quicker, and all the games were on at once. The one thing that was bizarre. I mean, this happens anyway in DFS, as you guys know. Like, one rebound can make the difference between first place and 10th place. But in an Express slate where you have 3 games, like one rebound, and because as the tournaments are so top heavy, at least the payouts, like one rebound's difference between winning 10,000 and 50 cents. So it's just like the swings are even that much more drastic. Like, one of your players gets in foul trouble, forget about it. So luckily, I had Alfred Payton who hurt me, but otherwise I was able to cash in every tournament I played in on the Express slate. So it actually turned out well. I was able to make a few $100, but I didn't think I was going to be able to play anything. So it was an interesting experience, although, again, I wouldn't highly recommend doing it because 3 games, you don't have a lot of options. It's tough to differentiate lineups. You're taking risks. But if you want to play, a few dollars on it every night, it was fun. Just not, it's just tough to really show your skills as a DFS player when there's only 3 games. All right, Dream Killers, Dream Lovers. I didn't get a ton of chance to watch the games because this day was just insane for me. So I will talk about some of the Dream Killers, some of the Dream Lovers, and what I was able to watch. Dream Killers, and this one I didn't even need to watch because even though I caught that second half, although you guys were tweeting me, I should make a list of the top tweets I've gotten for Dream Killers this year, because Kyle O'Quinn for Wednesday night was definitely on there. He started because Noah was out, and then he played 10 minutes, and I don't even think he was in foul trouble. Normally he gets in foul trouble, and that's why he goes to the bench. He just got benched super early, and then really didn't play. And then the Knicks have those two foreign guys. They got the Kuz and the Hearn. I'm not going to try to pronounce their full names at 4 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't do it at noon at a reasonable hour. But the Kuz came in, I think, and it played well, had a good game. And O'Quinn, I mean, and that can, I mean, first of all, if you played Kyle O'Quinn before, you shouldn't be too surprised because he's with me at Magic Mountain. He can give you 2 FanDuel points or 40. And tonight was one of the nights where it was just a little odd because he just got completely benched. I was surprised he didn't get back in the game at all. But, that can happen. And the one thing I will say about the Knicks going forward, I mean, there's so much going on right now in the media and the press. If you read all the articles going on with the Knicks, Hornacek talking about lineup changes, changing the rotation because they've lost, what is it, like 12 out of 14 before they actually got a good win against the Celtics on Wednesday night. So that rotation could be volatile, especially when you have guys that like Porzingis out right now. Also, Dream Killer, Frank Vogel. I think he destroyed Elfrid Payton. He barely played him in the first half, and in the second half, Elfrid Payton was a scared little boy standing in the corner, and he was basically scared of Drew Holiday. And then whenever he did try to drive, Anthony Davis, he couldn't finish around the rim over Anthony Davis. And at Elfrid Payton's price, which was over $6K, it was freaking super annoying because I actually rostered him in the express slate over like Patrick Beverley, who went nuts, and over even guys like Brogdon had much better games. So I know Elfrid Payton's only a tournament-only guy. One reason is because of Frank Vogel and the minutes. But, it's super weird when you play a horrible team like the Pelicans and you basically put up a dud, and then he played Utah 2 games ago and put up, 60 FanDuel points? I mean, DFS it's just crazy like that. So Elfrid Payton, he was my soul crusher, quite honestly, on this slate. Let's see. Jody Meeks, if you tried to play Jody Meeks because Evan Fournier was out, I think Jody Meeks ended up with he hurt his wrist. He had some injury he came down with. So a shame. Only put up 10 FanDuel points before he got hurt. Mike Conley, very disappointing Memphis playing way up in pace against John Wall. Expected a much better game from him. Did not come through. Marc Gasol did okay, but John Wall severely outplayed him. Damari Carroll, we thought he was finally going to be a safe cash game play. Had a nice little run for about a week. The last 2 games has basically been piss poor. The guy who we rostered earlier in the year who was down to 3.9K, so he didn't come through for us on Wednesday. The Bazemore had a couple good games. Atlanta was a mess. I watched that entire Detroit-Atlanta game playing the express slate. I had a lot of the Detroit guys. Atlanta got just blitzed from the get-go, complete no-show, sleepwalking. It was abysmal. Everyone on their team was just a disgusting performance. If I was their coach, I would have benched everyone immediately. They were down by easily 20, 25, 30 in the first half. Bradley Beal was a dream killer, did not perform well for Washington. Carmelo, I don't even know what to say about Melo. If you played Melo and O'Quinn, which on paper were both good plays heading into Wednesday night, you probably were pissed and had a bad night. And I don't blame you for being upset. And then Avery Bradley. I'm pretty sure Avery Bradley got ruled out after lineup lock. So if you played him, soul crusher. If you played him, first of all, the judge, well, if he did in tournaments, fine. But again, he's still too expensive anyway. So that was a guy I would not have had exposure to on this slate anyway. Which for tournaments, as you probably know, makes him a decent play because super low owned. But if you don't play, you got to play in the game. You got to play in the game to take advantage of low ownership. You don't play and give you and put up a 0 FanDuel point. That's not going to get it done. Also, kudos to my boy Ron Burgundy Baker for the Knicks, getting a negative FanDuel points. Is he the first player all year to end up in the negative value? He got the start for the Knicks at the shooting guard and ended up with, I think, negative 0.8 FanDuel points. That's impressive in a weird, twisted, sick kind of way. Dream Lovers, Darren Collison. He was going to be a core player for me. I did have him in Chambers. I was able to take down. I also put him in. No, I didn't get a chance to put him in the express slate. But without Ty Lawson, he's locked into 35, 30, almost 40 minutes. Sacramento has no one else to play at point guard. So if Ty Lawson's going to miss any time, Collison should almost be a lock for your cash games. Oladipo was really good for OKC. Westbrook and Oladipo both were able to hit value, even though they got blown up by Golden State. Aaron Gordon, he was just too cheap. Hope you guys took advantage of it. He was 4.9K. He didn't even play that well and still ended up with 30 FanDuel points. I mean, someone asked me on Twitter, why did I play Aaron Gordon? Or I seem to be playing him lately a lot in tournaments. And I have been a little bit in tournaments, but he's too cheap. He's got 40, 50 FanDuel point upside. And when he gets it going, Frank Vogel will let him play 35 minutes. And he has a floor these days he hasn't played less than 24 minutes in like a month. So even if he gets 24 minutes at that salary, he's going to give me 15, 20 FanDuel points and not kill my lineups. And if he goes off, he can help me take down a GPP. So right now he's a really good tournament play. Marcus Morris, without KCP, and then Tobias Harris got in early foul trouble. Tobias Harris started off the game on fire, then he got in foul trouble, and then he picked up just stupid fouls the rest of the game. Like I say on many of the shows, when someone gets in foul trouble, they never – psychologically, I don't know what it does to them. It's almost like, I can't think of a good analogy, like relationship-wise. Yeah, I don't know. I had one, but it was too R-rated for the podcast, so I'll leave that one out. Maybe I'll save that one for tomorrow's show. But yeah, so it just messes with your freaking head when you get in foul trouble. And even if you get off to a good start, and Tobias Harris could not turn things around, but Marcus Morris sure as hell took advantage of it. Dude almost put up a triple-double. And I think I said on yesterday's pod, he's also like 4.9K, and he's just too cheap right now, especially with KCP out, and there's extra shots to go around. He's playing probably the best I've seen him play all year. Derrick Rose, he's a criminal and should be in jail, but he put up 50 FanDuel points. So, yeah, congrats, Derrick Rose. Courtney Lee, dead man walking. Courtney Lee, dude had like 7 assists at some point in like late in the third quarter. I don't know what he ended up with, but he ended up with like over 31 FanDuel points. Coming off the bench, once I saw he wasn't starting, I was praying he's going to get benched and not play at all, and they would just play Justin Holiday all his minutes. But no, he had to actually play well for once. So I wouldn't expect that again, though. And the Coos for the Knicks. One of their foreign big guys, and that's the guy who stole Kyle O'Quinn's minutes. He ended up he had a really good night. Our injury news for Thursday. You have Brandon Knight, right wrist sprain. Looks like he's questionable. Kevin Love dealing with lower back tightness is questionable. If Kevin Love is out, Kyrie Irving is the big winner. Kyrie gets about a 6% usage bump. So if Love is out, I'll be playing a lot of Kyrie. Then you got the two teams that we got to be tracking all day long. That's the Knicks and Denver. For the Knicks, Noah is questionable with an ankle. Then you got Lance Thomas and Porzingis are both doubtful. So they're probably both out. For the Knicks, Ron Baker Burgundy, if he does start again, might be worth a flyer. He gets a 6.8% usage rate when those guys are out. Melo didn't take advantage of it on Wednesday, but because of recency bias, will be a good play Thursday. He gets a 5.4% usage bump. And the criminal himself, Derrick Rose, gets a 1.5% usage bump. And then Denver's really intriguing on this slate. So Wilson Chandler is going to be out for personal reasons. Gary Harris is out with a right ankle sprain, and Darrell Arthur is probably out with leg soreness. I don't know if that's arthritis. If your leg's sore? Give me something more than that. If your leg's sore, you should be able to play in the game. But so the best player in the world right now, Jokic, gets a 4.5% increase. Once we get to his salary, I want you to be able to sit down. I won't say what it is now. Just sit down in your seats because his salary is unbelievable how high it is right now. But he's probably still going to be a good play on Thursday. Nurkic gets a 2.4% usage bump. Jamal Murray gets a 2.2% usage bump. And Will to Throw Barton is going to be a really good play on this slate. He gets a 1.6% usage bump in Denver's matchup against the Spurs. All right, let's go into take a quick little flight to Vegas. We'll go to the Hard Rock, little blackjack table for the judge. And so 5 games, all the lines are up, all the over-unders are up. Glorious. That never happens usually when I'm taping the show. So, a couple scary things on this slate. You got teams like the Spurs and teams like Dallas who we hate. And also the game with the highest over-under, and we got 2 potential blowouts. One of them happens to be the game with the highest over-under. That's Denver-San Antonio, a 219.5 over-under. San Antonio is a 12.5-point favorite. San Antonio has not been playing good basketball lately, especially defensively. Teams have been able to score on them like at will lately. It's been really bizarre watching them play. Now they get Denver, so the Spurs are playing way up in pace. They are big favorites here. Denver's been playing really well. It's going to be interesting to see how we handle guys like Jokic Guys like Will the Thrill Barton. I think obviously they're elite tournament plays, but it's gonna be interesting to see what we're gonna do in cash with the Denver guys. And for the Spurs, I mean, the really only guy for Spurs you can ever touch in cash is Kawhi Leonard. His price is on the rise too, but he's been excellent lately. Then you got Phoenix, Cleveland. Cleveland's favored by 11.5. Another team, Cleveland's been playing like crap. I mean, they were coming off like a 6, 7, 8 game road trip. They were on the road for at least two weeks, if not more. Their first game home, you would think that, I mean, Cleveland playing way up in pace. They're in a really good spot just to put the beat down on the Suns. So, and especially if Kevin Love, I think I heard Kevin Love wants to play. I hope he sits out because there's not a lot of value on this slate, and we need value to open up. But on a 5-game slate, you can't just ignore a game if you think it's going to be a blowout. So there's going to be, obviously, if Love is out, then we can absolutely attack Kyrie, and LeBron will probably be cash game locks for me. But either way, lots of goodies to attack in that game for sure. Washington Knicks, honestly, that might be the game to attack in terms of DFS. That game should absolutely stay close. Two teams who don't know how to play defense, even if they wanted to. 213 over-under. Both teams on a back-to-back. That worries me a little bit, so I think the pace could be a little bit slower than expected. But I still think we can attack tons of guys in that game. Minnesota Clippers. That game should be close too. The Clippers are a 2-point favorite. And remember, this is now the Clippers for the foreseeable future without Chris Paul, without Blake Griffin. So you got the freaking worst player in the NBA, Austin Rivers. You got a Waffle House fat Raymond Felton who are going to be in play. And then the Wolves, I mean, we know at least we know from Minnesota who's going to get big minutes. The problem with that is the Clippers don't play at a fast pace. What I tried to figure out before the show, do they play at a faster pace without Chris Paul? And I wasn't able to get stats that I liked before the show to give you guys information. But so that's something that to keep an eye on, and I will be trying. I think they do play at a little bit of a faster clip without CP3. I mean, CP3, he's old, man, and that guy, he's obviously an excellent player. But I mean, if you watch him play, he's very methodical with the ball. He's never in a rush, with the ball to run up and down the court. Then Dallas, Miami. 197 over-under. I'm surprised the over-under is that high for this game, quite honestly. This easily could have been like a 192 over-under. So Miami's favored by 1.5. You get two of the worst teams in the NBA. This game is going to hurt your eyes if you're trying to watch. Make sure you duck. But there's some good cheap plays in this game that I like to attack. And then Dallas is horrendous rebounding, especially since Bogut's been out. So a guy like Whiteside, who has not been good lately, is going to be a really good tournament play on this slate, especially as guys like Towns price continues to rise. So teams playing up in pace. You got the Cavs playing way up against Phoenix. You got the Spurs playing way up against Denver. Then you got the Wizards playing up a little bit against the Knicks. Those are really the only 3 teams playing a little bit up in pace. Only 5 games, so let's talk a little defensive versus position. Denver, as you guys know, where do we attack Denver? Say it out loud. Wherever you are, if you're at your office, you're at home, you're on a walk, we attack Denver guards, especially with Gary Harris out. Moutier is atrocious. So for the Spurs, Tony Parker, and could this, dare I say, a Danny Green day? Is this a day to play the guy with the same name as the Judge and take down a GPP? Maybe. The Knicks are atrocious at shooting guard, which is probably why Courtney Lee was benched. They're also a disaster at power forward and center. So for the Wizards, Bradley Beal is an excellent play. And Markeef's an interesting guy. And Gortat has been just so bad lately. So while he's going to be in play, it's hard to trust him lately. What's interesting about the Cavs, even though they have LeBron, they give up like the 3rd most FanDuel points to small forwards. I thought that was like a misprint. And I don't think I've said that on the show before. So, and all year long they've struggled to defend shooting guard. Now J.R. Smith is out, so with Liggins or Shumpert, I think they're better defensively at that spot. But Booker and Warren, obviously good tournament plays for Phoenix. And then the Clippers, all year long they've struggled for years now. They've struggled to defend the small forward position. And they got Mbah Moute for defense, although he's not been doing a good job. So Andrew Wiggins in a good spot. All right, let's hop into the plays. It gets ugly fast at some positions, I'm not going to lie. Point guard, John Wall, just a super safe play. I mean, against Memphis, worst matchup that you can have besides Utah. Put up 49 FanDuel points on Wednesday. The minutes 37 are always good. 25 points, 13 assists, 49 FanDuel points. Now, back to back here, I'm a little worried, but playing the Knicks, playing the criminal Derrick Rose in a very, 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 very good spot. I'm not going to say elite spot because he's 10.2K now, and that's expensive. And quite honestly, if Kevin Love's out, I think I may prefer to play a Kyrie Irving, even though Irving's been bad. So, look, if you want to play Wall, I get it. It's super safe. But, it's just the problem is at that price, he's got to give you 50. He's only given me 50 one time over the last 10 games. So I'm pissed off the price is that high. It should be about 9.7K around there. But still, safe for all formats. On this, it's only 5-game slate. If this was like a 9-game slate, he'd be a guy that I would love to fade. On a 5-game slate, I'm going to have a lot of exposure. Kyrie Irving, Cleveland playing way up in pace. If Kevin Love is out, he becomes an elite play. Even if Love plays, he's still an excellent play. He's been bad lately, but all of Cleveland has. I'm not really sure why. I don't buy into the fact that Kyle Korver's been, is now part of their rotation, and that's throwing them off. That's BS. So whatever. It's the Cavs. Regular season doesn't matter. I would expect him to bounce back. He should be fine. Eric Bledsoe, 8K. The epitome of Magic Mountain. His face should be on Magic Mountain, quite honestly. Whenever we come up with all the players who are there riding the roller coasters with me. Against that last game out against Utah, you guys, I don't know if you remember or not, 55 FanDuel points. Against the Spurs before that, 38. So if he can put up the monster numbers like that against those two teams, maybe he's turned a little corner here. And when you look at his game log, it's been for him. This is as consistent as he's been all year long. He had one bad game against Dallas, and that's another tricky matchup because they play so slow. Other than that, though, he's been in like the 30s or 40s almost every game for like a week or two now. So I think he's in a really good spot here. Kyrie Irving is not a good defender. I'm a little worried they put Shumpert on Bledsoe. I'm not sure if they would put Shumpert on Bledsoe or let him guard Booker. I could see them doing both. But either way, Bledsoe, excellent tournament play. Cash games, I'm still not going to touch him. Goran Dragic, 6.9K. Only problem is the pace of this game is just dirt nasty. It's disgusting. So the usage is fine. It's still sitting pretty at 29%. He does stand in the corner a little bit too much for my taste at the end of games. I wish he'd be more aggressive, especially when Miami could use him to be more aggressive. But for whatever reason, he doesn't want to these days. Maybe he's just pissed about being on a team that sucks. Because when he was traded there, they had Wade and Bosh, and they were competing for like a 4 seed in the East, and now they're competing for the top lottery team. But he's still fine. Remember, for a 5-game slate, that's how you can win a tournament. You can play a guy like Dragic in a slow-paced game. He's going to be low-owned. No one's going to want to touch this game. So for tournaments, you can do it. We've seen people put up monster lines against Memphis and Utah. The only last thing I'll say here about this matchup is Wes Matthews is a really good defender. So I could see them putting Wes Matthews on Dragic, especially like in the fourth quarter, and Dragic will start crying. He's such a wuss lately. That worries me a little bit. But for like single entry tournaments and large tournaments, I think Dragic is a really intriguing, sneaky ninja play on this slate. Ricky Rubio, he's been playing excellent lately, so his price has come up to 6.7K. Man, that's expensive, but he's been in the 40s for the last 5 games, which if you would have told me that 2 weeks ago, I would have said that there's no way in hell it can happen. And against the Spurs, he was just dancing circles around Tony Parker. I was doing the salsa in my living room dancing, watching him play. 39 minutes, 21 points, 14 assists, 45 FanDuel points. And let me tell you, you don't want to be seeing the judge trying to do the salsa. Scared the bailiff, scared everyone. Also, is that the right dance? Where's Ricky? Where's Rubio even from? He's from Spain, right? Is that the right dance? I have no idea. Whatever. Someone tell me what dance Ricky Rubio will be doing wherever he's from. No, is he from? Now I'm all confused. It's too late to be trying to figure this out. I should know that. I should know where he's from. That's gonna bug me now. Anyway, Rubio, he's fine because now you're playing the Clippers, He's not getting Chris Paul defense. He's getting fat Raymond Felton defense. So talk about dancing. I want to do the salsa again on one Thursday night. He's fine. He's fine in all formats for me right now at that price. Yeah, I mean, like, he should be able to have his way with the Clippers. Darren Williams, yeah, if you want to, it'd be an interesting move just to do like a little stack of this Dallas-Miami game, and you could start Dragic and Darren Williams. They're both going to be low owned. Quite honestly, you could just start those two and then go chalk the rest of your lineup because those two are going to be pretty relatively low owned, and they've both been pretty good and consistent lately. What you got to do is you hope that game stays close, hope it goes to like an overtime, and hope for some reason Darren Williams thinks it's 2008. We put him in a time back some type of time machine, and they just compete head to head. It could happen. I mean, could Darren Williams be the second or third highest scoring point guard on this slate? Yeah, it's not impossible. He could come up with a 40 FanDuel point night. I've been impressed with him with Dirk back. I thought he would take a back seat, but he's still been really good. And with Dirk back, it helps his assists, and his assists the last few games have been great, 9, 10, and 12. And remember, on FanDuel, you get a 1.5 points for every assist. So I think Darren Williams is he's a sneaky guy. Would I prefer Rubio to him for cash games? Yeah. Would I even prefer a guy like Dragic because he has a little bit higher of a usage rate? Probably. But I think Darren Williams is fine. Derrick Rose. Yeah, he's all formats. He's fine. It's hard. I don't like playing him on back-to-backs ever because his body is going to break at any minute, but he's coming off his best game of the year. So due to recency bias, I will be fading him a lot. Also, John Wall is a sneaky good defender. I mean, when you look at defensive versus position, they give up Washington gives up third fewest FanDuel points to point guards. So all signs point to me to fade Rose on this slate. Although I understand if you want to play him, I'll play him in a couple lineups because I'll definitely stack that game a little bit. I do love the Washington Knicks game. Tyler Johnson, 6.1K. I keep waiting for him to fall off, and it's just not happening. And I don't think it's going to happen this year. 29, 34, 30, 25, 23, 38 the last few games. Even with Dion Waiters back. The one reason why I'm down on Dragic so much is because in the fourth quarter, Tyler Johnson does a lot of the ball handling. And I don't know if Dragic just runs out of gas or just Spoelstra's running more plays for Tyler Johnson. I'm not sure what the dichotomy is, like what switches. He's been really good, really consistent. I think he's still too expensive. And remember, we're paying a 6.1K salary based on a number of possessions. Now those possessions are going down in this matchup versus Dallas. So it's just not the right slate for me to play him, especially in something like cash. Although for tournaments, people don't like the roster guys that are coming off the bench. So you already get him at a reduced ownership just based on that alone. I think for tournaments, he's always an interesting guy to play. Austin Rivers and Fat Felton, they're both 5.5, 5.6K. The way I'm going to approach them going forward, Fat Felton's always going to be the guy I prefer in cash games. Austin Rivers will be the guy that I think I would play a little bit more in tournaments, although quite honestly, right for this matchup, they're both fine for both formats if you want. I mean, and you can do the judges special. You can roll a lineup out there, and I mean roll literally with Raymond Felton. You can do a Felton Austin Rivers as both of your guards. I think they're both gonna. I mean, the problem is I was hoping they'd be a little bit closer to 5K, not already 5.5, 5.6K. So I actually do like the fact that FanDuel priced them up to make them a little bit harder to play, but I think they're both going to stumble into around 25, 30 FanDuel points. The Clippers are just an atrocious team now. Fat Raymond Felton, he's going to stumble around to closer to 30 FanDuel points. Austin Rivers, I think he'll be around closer to the 20 mark. But then occasionally, once every 10 games, he's going to have a 40 FanDuel point explosion. Now that they get Minnesota, I mean, Levine is a decent defender. Rubio, his defense has not been as good this year. I'm trying to see their defensive versus position real quick. Yeah, I mean, Minnesota, they're sneaky good defensively. They give up like the third fewest FanDuel points to shooting guards, which it doesn't seem that's possible. But and in this matchup, Austin Rivers basically would be playing the two if they go small, like I think they will with Felton, Austin Rivers, and JJ Redick. So again, I prefer Felton and cash, Rivers tournaments. Although, quite honestly, I may play Felton in both cash and tournaments over Rivers. Emmanuel Mudiay, 5K. He's Magic Mountain, playing the Spurs. 1 out of 10 games, he's going to go off. The Spurs, I mean, other thing with Denver, they're banged up right now. So without Gary Harris, without Wilson Chandler being out, Mudiay could get some more minutes, get some more shots. Other than that, you got Tony Parker. We all know you can attack the hell out of the Denver guards. I'm a little worried about the blow-up potential here, but I think Parker, 4.7K, he's safe for cash if you're looking to save. Then you got Patty Mills on that 5-game slate. You got to get creative. Patty Mills is an intriguing guy to play on this slate because if the Spurs do blow Denver out, he could get some extra minutes. Ron Burgundy Baker is down there if you want. Shooting guard. Bradley Beal, 7.2K, coming off a horrible night on against Memphis on Wednesday. Now he gets a fantasy gold matchup against the Knicks. So safe for all formats in an elite spot on Thursday. Little pricey, though, for a one-trick pony, 7.2K. Speaking of one-trick pony, Devin Booker, 6.4K. His ownership is going to be interesting to see what it is on this slate. He was great. He was had 3 straight games of over 40 FanDuel points, basically. Against Utah, he came back down to earth. But against Utah, he put up 25 actual points. And this is how you know you're a one-trick pony. If you end up with less FanDuel points than your actual total number of points, you are officially a one-trick pony. So 25 actual points, only 23 FanDuel points because he had no rebounds, 1 assist, 0 blocks, 0 steals, 3 turnovers. I object to playing that type of basketball. How can you be on the court for he played 46 minutes. How can you play 46 minutes and do nothing else? You can't stumble, bumble, fumble into a rebound? You can't stumble into a steal? I mean, that's embarrassing, quite honestly. And that's the problem with a one-trick pony. He's got to put up 30 actual points. He's in a decent matchup against Cleveland. Blowout concerns me a little bit, but give me Beal every day of the week. I mean, Beal will occasionally – Beal will get you 4 or 5 assists occasionally. So I prefer Beal to Booker on this slate in cash games. Tournaments, if you want to go Booker, he could go nuts, so absolutely. Zach LaVine, 6.2K. Yeah, I mean, I think LaVine's in a decent spot too against getting some Austin Rivers defense probably. The one issue I have here now, since he had an injury and now the last two games, he's still playing big minutes, 35, 34. But with Rubio playing so well, that limits the amount of time he's handling the ball. So his assists have been down, 2 assists, 1 assist last 2 games. So he's become a one-trick pony. So 6.2K, that's expensive to pay. I prefer to pay Beal or I prefer to spend down to a couple guys I'm going to talk about in a couple seconds. Wesley Matthews, 5.4K. Look, if you want to play a guy who's a bulldog of a defender, he's going to guard he played Jimmy Butler, just fantastic defense in the fourth quarter. I've seen him play great defense on James Harden this year. But you don't get FanDuel points for defense. And he will go 10, 11, 12 possessions without touching the ball because Darren Williams will run pick and rolls with Harrison Barnes, with Dirk Nowitzki. Everyone will touch that ball except Wesley Matthews on offense. Now, could he get hot and hit some threes? Sure. Is he cheap enough to play on a 5-game slate? Sure. Will the judge prefer someone with an actual usage rate? Yes. So I won't have a ton of him on this slate. Deion Waiters, the complete polar opposite than Wesley Matthews. Deion Waiters doesn't even know what defense is. He will be jacking up the ball from everywhere. He will take 15, 20 shots in this slate. I'm praying that Wesley Matthews guards Goran Dragic or Tyler Johnson and not Deion Waiters, which I think is a good possibility. So Deion Waiters, he's still dirt cheap at 5.3K for the amount of shots he's going to take. Deion Waiters is a fine. He's been shooting piss poor and giving you 28, 23, and 27 FanDuel points. So I'm fine with him in any format. I love the usage. I just need him to make shots. When he makes shots, he's going to help us win a GPP very soon. The only thing, playing down in pace, maybe he won't get 20 shots. Maybe he'll get 15, 16 shots. Will the throw Barton? I don't think he cares who he's playing the Spurs. You can attack the Spurs at shooting guard. It's the only position you can attack them all year long if you look at the defensive first position. But Will Barton, you watch him play, he doesn't care. He thinks he's on the playground. He's similar to Deion Waiters. He jacks up shots, bad shots, horrible shots. If he gets it going, though, he can help you take down a GPP. So another guy, great tournament play. I will absolutely. I'm gonna have a lineup in tournaments with Dion Waiters, Will Barton. Those two guys combined could get me like 10 FanDuel points, or they get me like 60 or 70 or 80. Very volatile players. But I think Dion Waiters is actually safe for cash games at this point with the amount of minutes he's locked into. Will the Thrill probably is tournaments only for me. But with Gary Harris out though, I think he is a good play. JJ Redick. I mean, the problem is Redick has had some really good games, but it was with Chris Paul. And when Chris Paul is out, that hurts JJ Redick because there's no one to get him the ball. And what's actually pretty fascinating is if you look at the usage rate of the Clippers when Chris Paul and Blake Griffin are out, so Austin Rivers gets a 4% usage bump. Jamal Crawford gets a 2.3% usage bump. You know whose usage goes down 2.1 percentage points? That's JJ Redick. And that's because, and then this is the one thing that I would recommend you guys do. When you hear when an injury happens, and now we have a couple of days for the Chris Paul one, but even like when you hear that injury news happens around, let's say 6 p.m. Eastern or 6:30 Eastern, real close to lineup lock. Try to think like 2 steps ahead. Don't let's say we're a couple days ago we got the Kyle Lowry news, right? So Kyle Lowry was ruled out, and then everyone was like, Corey Joseph, and they went on with and DeMar DeRozan, right? Those were then became elite plays. But what I like to do is think it out further. And the next step for me was, okay, like how does this impact the game? And I was like, well, the only guy who ever passes to Valanciunas is Lowry. So how is he going to get the ball on this slate? Now, that night they were playing Brooklyn, so I still thought he'd be okay. But I should have listened to myself because sure enough, Corey Joseph, who's a shoot first, shoot second, shoot third point guard, didn't pass him the ball once. And DeMar DeRozan hasn't passed anyone all year. So, and that was a huge problem why Valanciunas didn't hit value that night. So, it's somewhat of a similar situation with Chris Paul being out. It really hurts JJ Redick, especially because his price has come up $1,000 in the last week. Now, maybe Doc Rivers now has come up with some magical plays to run to get Redick the ball in some decent spots because he's been hot, so he does deserve some more shots. But just from what I've seen this year, he takes a hit without Chris Paul. So it's not a night I'm going to use him in cash. Will I use him in a tournament or two? Probably, just because it is a small slate. But Austin Rivers does a horrible job getting him the ball, and Fat Felton can struggle some nights. Other than that, Seth Curry. You got actually Seth Curry and Shumpert, I think, are both. If Shumpert's starting, I think he's a cash game play on this slate. He started last game, put up like 30 FanDuel points. And Seth Curry's a sneaky guy. I played him in a lot of tournaments and got him at an elite ownership level, super low. Because Dallas is playing really small. They're starting Dirk at the 5. On a 5-game slate, you gotta get creative. So you can play guys like Seth Curry and Shumpert on this slate. If Curry's starting, I honestly, you can play him for cash at that price. And then you got Courtney Lee at 3.7K sitting down there for free. And my boy Danny Green and Justin Holiday. And that's why, in a lot of my lineups, I'm not going to touch Devin Booker's, Zach LaVine's, and I'm gonna spend low at shooting guard at some of those cheapies. And then I'm going to pay up and make sure I have guys like LeBron, Jokic, even like maybe a Kawhi in my lineup. Because shooting guard sucks. Small forward, LeBron, 10.5K. So his prices come up a little bit too, which is interesting. I think it's just because based on the matchup, which FanDuel, I wonder why FanDuel is doing. Like FanDuel never used to do this. Are they just because they're going to merge with DraftKings? They're basically spying on and stealing DraftKings algorithm. I'm not really sure because LeBron's been bad lately. If Kevin Love is out, he will be a lock and load in my cash games. Even if Kevin Love plays, he might be a lock and load just because the matchup playing up in pace is so good. And the Cavs now, they need a win. They've been playing so bad. Want to get the bad taste of getting blown up by Golden State out of their mouths. So LeBron in an elite spot on this slate. I'm just hoping Kevin Love doesn't play. Kawhi Leonard, 9.4K. So his price has been skyrocketing up because he's back to the Kawhi like the first couple of weeks of the season when he was one of the best players in the NBA. He played 39 minutes last game against Minnesota. That may be the most minutes he's played all year. I'm pretty sure it is. I think he had a couple other games like 38 minutes. But the price, I'm not a huge fan of, but he's been in the 40s now for a good couple week stretch. Denver, I don't know who the hell they're going to try to put on him. Gallinari maybe a little bit. Wilson Chandler's out. Defensively, I just don't know. I don't know how they're going to try to defend him. So safe for all formats. And quite honestly, because I'm going to spend down a shooting guard, I may have a LeBron Kawhi as my two cash game small forwards. Carmelo, he's going to be an elite tournament play for me on this 5-game slate because of recency bias. No one's going to want to play him. But remember, with Porzingis and those guys out, he does get a massive usage bump. I normally do not like to play him on back-to-backs. His body is falling apart as well. I'm not sure why. He played 33 minutes against Boston, only had 23 FanDuel points. Tons of talk in the media about him. All these talks with Phil Jackson. He doesn't want to waive the no trade clause. Maybe he'll waive it. He only wants to go to the Clippers or the Cavs if he gets traded. Blah blah blah. So that's got to have a play with his head a little bit psychologically, because it's just the Knicks are just a mess right now. So to me, tournaments only. Andrew Wiggins, 6.8K. You can attack the Clippers at the small forward position. Wiggins, you guys know where he lives, right? Where does he live? Say it with me. Magic Mountain. Him and Bledsoe, they're first in line, first and second. 17 FanDuel points, 34 last 2 games. That's basically his floor and his ceiling, basically. Then again, his ceiling could be a little bit higher now. He's making shots. The epitome of a one-trick pony. So he did have Kawhi Leonard defense last game, so I give him a little pass on that. Now he gets Mbah Mute, much better matchup. I still don't like him for cash, but tournaments, absolutely. Harrison Barnes, super slow-paced game, this Dallas-Miami game. I think he's just too expensive right now for this game on this slate. I wish he was closer to 6K. I will not have a ton of exposure. I will have one mini stack of this Dallas-Miami game with the Harrison Barnes in that lineup. Otto Porter, the man without a usage rate. He started off the game on fire against Memphis, and he ended up with 35 FanDuel points. I've seen him do that like 2 or 3 times this year, and that's because he has no usage rate. So even if he starts off on fire, he can just come to a crashing halt. He can be a guy, like, let's say the game starts at 7. At 7:20, you look and you're like, oh my God, Otto Porter has 20 FanDuel points. Then you look an hour later. Now it's like 8:15 p.m. and he still has 20 FanDuel points. Because he's another guy. He just won't touch the ball for 10, 11 possessions in a row, and it's just super frustrating to own. So he had a great game on Thursday or Wednesday, but he still barely hit value. He's too expensive. So yeah, in a really nice matchup against the Knicks. But I just prefer to play guys who are going to touch the ball. You can do it, especially if you want to stack that game. It's fine. Then you got Gallinari sitting there at 5.9K. The problem is Denver plays the Spurs, so don't really want to touch a small forward on any team against Kawhi Leonard. I'm trying to think who Kawhi Leonard's going to guard as well. The more I think about it, maybe they put Kawhi Leonard on if Will the Thrill Barton gets it going, they could put Kawhi Leonard on Will the Thrill, and then he wouldn't be Will the Thrill. He'd be Will the Kill. So I got to think more about who Kawhi is going to be defending. Because remember, Wilson Chandler's not playing. So in theory, Gallinari is a nice play. The problem is who's Kawhi going to be guarding? And LaMarcus is no slouch defensively either. Normally, it's been tough to attack the Spurs bigs. TJ Warren's sitting there for free at 4.5K. I'm not really sure what happened to Earl Watson to make him not play TJ Warren big minutes. He started off the year great. He was playing like 40 minutes a night like Devin Booker. Then he got hurt, and now he plays in the 20s in minutes. And accordingly, his FanDuel production it's basically suffers. It's in the teens and low 20s lately. With that said, if he gets hot, he could help you take down a GPP. So tournaments only. Next up, PJ Tucker, 4.1K. Part of the reason they're not playing TJ Warren is because they are playing a lot of PJ Tucker. Why, do you ask the judge? That I couldn't answer you. That's a question I spoke yesterday about, I think I titled the podcast, Lakers Youth Movement, ? Similar to the Phoenix. The Phoenix Youth Movement? Youth Movement, you-know-what? Why play guys like Chandler and PJ Tucker, who are 75 years old? Great. maybe they help you win a game on that particular night. Who the hell cares? Like, you're playing for your future. Like, play the young guys. So PJ Tucker, 4.1K, they're probably going to play a lot of PJ Tucker to guard LeBron on this slate because, whoa, if Phoenix could win this game, it would mean a lot. No, it wouldn't. It'd mean nothing. But with that said, PJ Tucker, intriguing play on this slate. And for cash games, I'd probably prefer him over TJ Warren. Then you got the Kuz for the Knicks, 3.9K. He played 29 minutes against Boston. He was great, 26 FanDuel points. So he's going to be in play again. The Knicks are going to give these foreigners lots of minutes now. That's it for small forward. Power forward, Jokic. All right, guys, sit down. Please sit. Please be seated. Court is in session. Jokic, the price is now 9.4K. 9.4K. That's right. You heard me right. Not 6.4K, not 7, not 8.4K, not 9K, 9.4K. I don't remember seeing a player skyrocket this, would have a salary skyrocket at this pace ever in the history of DFS. I wish I had the graph of salary. I mean, what, like a month ago, was he 5K, 6K? And now he's basically almost double that. It's pretty amazing. He has been one of the best players in the NBA the last couple weeks, especially last week. He's been excellent. 53, 55, 46. The last 3 games. He's been like an excellent passer. You can run offense through him. He gets every rebound. He's super efficient offensively. He's been staying out of foul trouble. There's nothing bad I can say about him. The one thing bad you can say for this particular slate is he gets the Spurs. Now, he just played the Spurs last week, and he put up 39 FanDuel points. And you're like, that's great. The problem is now at that price, that's really not great. Now we need him to produce like he's a superstar. I mean, he's more expensive than Kyrie Irving. He's more expensive than this slate. There's not many expensive guys going, but he's similar to Karl Anthony Towns. He's super expensive. He's basically the same price as Kawhi Leonard. He's close to LeBron. So you need a lot out of this guy. Do we expect him to do it against San Antonio? I would love to fade him. And the problem is this slate stinks. And power forward, it's just not that good on this slate. And there's not a lot of superstars going in general. So I think the slate may dictate you still put him in those lineups, even for cash games, which it feels crazy saying that at that price. But he's just been that good. And I watched him play the Spurs last week, and he was able. The only thing that limited him was minutes. He was able to abuse Aldridge, Gasol, whoever was guarding him. They put dead man walking on him for the Spurs a little bit. So I think I still think he's fine. The blowout's a little bit of a concern, but the problem is like point power forward just sucks. In tournaments, will I still fade him a little bit? Absolutely. But cash games, I think you just got to lock it in because at this point he's got like a floor of 35 FanDuel points. LaMarcus Aldridge. What I really want to do is fade Jokic and go all in on Aldridge in tournaments. Now I haven't talked myself into doing that yet, but that would be a nice play. And give me a nice advantage over the rest of the field. Aldridge has been good. The last game he was good, 41 FanDuel points. He destroyed Minnesota. The problem has been the last week he's been bad, 21 and 20. But he's been kind of up and down all year long. It's hard to get him and Kawhi both having good games on the same night. Denver's been playing better defensively a little bit, but Aldridge, I think he's in a good spot. Now, could he end up the night scoring more FanDuel points than Jokic? Absolutely. I think there's like a 45% chance that actually happens. So just because of ownership, I will be playing more, and because power forward, I don't like the rest. I mean, after Aldridge is a big drop-off. So you got to probably play one of those guys in cash games. Quite honestly, you could play both, but I think Aldridge is in a really good spot. James Johnson, 6.3K. He's been excellent. The problem is I love to attack James Johnson when they're playing up in pace. Now Miami's playing way down in pace against Dallas. And he's expensive, 6.3K. this is not the matchup for James Johnson. He has like a ceiling of 30 FanDuel points anyway, so this is going to be tough for him. I see him ending up in the 20s. Still okay, but it's just tough to see him go off. With that said, tournament, sure. Markieff Morris, 6.1K. The Knicks cannot defend power forward, especially if Porzingis is out, which he's going to be. So Markieff's been excellent last 2 games, and he was great on Wednesday against Memphis, 37 FanDuel points, and then 48 the last 2. I don't know what I'm telling you. Like the Morris brothers, something's going on with both of them lately. They've both been playing the best basketball, maybe of their career, the last week or 2. So Markieff's a little expensive, but on this slate, the slate dictates who I play. Power forward stinks. I think he's fine for all formats. Dirk Nowitzki, 5.7K. Dirk, if you don't want to spend up on Jokic and LaMarcus, Dirk's fine for on this slate. He's fine for all formats. He's been very consistent in the mid to high 20s, low 30s FanDuel points the last few games, and the pace has probably helped him. He's so stupid slow. He can't get up and down the court anyway. He needs a wheelchair to get up and down the court. So pace with him doesn't really concern me, and I think he's fine. I mean, the upside is a little limited, but on this slate, at that price, if he gives me 30, that's total. If he gives even like 28, that would be totally fine. I could still take down on GPP with that. Gorgie Dang, 5.7K. He's going to be overlooked. He's going to be underowned. He's been inconsistent, man. He's the one Minnesota guy that's not locked into 30-plus minutes. Against the Spurs, he put up 38 FanDuel points. That's what it's annoying. He'll do that, man. He has these comes out of nowhere and has these really good games, and it's bizarre where you get like 4 blocks. I seem to pick him on the wrong nights. Gets a Clippers team that has no big guys that can play any defense. He's fine. I'm not enthralled ever playing him. Kenneth Faried, wow, his price came up over, I think he was 4.3K maybe 3 days ago. Now he's 5.6K. Man, that was fast, FanDuel. I mean, honestly, FanDuel basically stole DraftKings algorithm. So with Darrell Arthur out, he's getting lots of extra minutes. 30 minutes last 2 games, which for him is a fuck. Oh, I didn't say it. I almost swore. I caught myself. I said frick, a frickin' miracle. 30 minutes for Kenneth Faried's a frickin' miracle. Last 2 games, hallelujah, I say. 32. If he gets a minute, he's always a fantasy point per minute monster. 32 and 33 FanDuel points. The problem is I love to attack Faried when they're playing up in pace. Against the Spurs, you're not playing up in pace. Not the ideal matchup for him, and the prices come way up. So not a great spot. You can do it in tournaments and hope something happens, but it'll be tough. Then, I mean, after that, you got Marquise Chris. I'm pretty sure last time Phoenix played Cleveland, he had a good game. It's all about minutes with him. Sometimes he'll play 15 minutes, sometimes he'll play 30. He's super athletic, very versatile. So if he can get some extra run in this game, he can help you take down a GPP. I'm pretty sure he did it last time Phoenix played Cleveland. And that's about it. Center. So center is pretty nasty on this slate. You got Towns at 10.1K, who has basically become matchup. He's expensive, but he's become matchup proof. Not a lot of stars on this slate. If you just want a nice, safe guy who's probably got a floor these days of 40 FanDuel points, and it's not a coincidence that he started to play better when Rubio's playing better. Because unlike Levine, who won't get him the ball, you need to be a center in this league. You got to have someone pass you the dang ball, and that's what Rubio does. That's why Rubio's getting high assist totals. He gets Towns easy buckets. So I think Towns is safe for all formats. Whiteside, really good tournament play. He's been bad because now I just mentioned I got to have a point guard giving you the ball. Dragic has never, since the 3 years Dragic has been in Miami, he has always struggled to give Whiteside the ball. They've never meshed well on the court together. Wade was always the guy getting Whiteside easy alley-oops the last couple of years. Whiteside's not been great. 3 out of the last 4 games, he's been in the 30s. With that said, as I mentioned top of the show, Dallas is a horrendous rebounding team, so you can attack them rebounding-wise, and Whiteside could go nuts and get 20, 25 rebounds. Tournaments only for me, though. Then you got DeAndre Jordan, 8.2K. He's similar to J.J. Redick. He just is not as good with Chris Paul. Chris Paul, as I just mentioned with other point guards, you need someone to feed the big man. Fat Felton and Austin Rivers, they are not good at doing that, especially not good at breaking down defenses and getting DeAndre Jordan easy dunks. So he was just starting to play better too, so it kind of sucks. 8.2K is expensive. He's fine. He still should play lots of minutes and get lots of rebounds. I just think he went from a guy capable of giving me a 60 FanDuel point night to a guy basically probably going to be mostly in the 40s for a ceiling, I think, these days. Pau Gasol, tournaments only. The minutes are just never there. And with Jokic playing, I'm not sure he's going to play a ton of minutes on this slate either. 17 minutes last game against Minnesota. That's disgusting. Gortat in an elite spot versus the Knicks, but he's been super bad lately, not being able to take advantage of anything. He hasn't hit 30 FanDuel points the last 5, 6, 7 games or so. So is he due? Will I have a John Wall Gortat lineup? Sure. Tristan Thompson, he's 4.9K, one of the most boring players ever to play in the NBA. I mean, he'll stumble, bumble, maybe into 20 FanDuel points for you. If you want to punt center, you can do it with him. It's fine. If you want to go back to the well with Kyle O'Quinn, I will do it in one lineup. I will absolutely do it. He's still got 40 FanDuel point potential. It's just, he's at Magic Mountain with us as well. He could get 10 minutes or, usually if he gets like 24 minutes, he gets close to like 40 FanDuel points. He's like a 2 fantasy point per minute player. It's pretty crazy. He just can't stop fouling people. Doesn't move his feet defensively. Just a weird basketball player. And tough to figure out. Tournaments only. And then you got Hernan Gomez for the Knicks, who went nuts on Wednesday. So if you want to go back to the well and play him, you got 20 minutes and had 31 FanDuel points. He's going to probably get similar minutes on Thursday. So he's dirt cheap, and he's fine. All right. That's the slate. We did it. 5 games. A nice 5-game slate. It's tricky, but I think it can be a lot of fun, and there's glory to be had. There's money to be had. So why not us? Let us take advantage of it. Have any questions, you can tweet at the judge, at Daniel8Green1. Email me at the website, dgcourtroomdfs.com. If I was not able to get back to you, I wasn't able to answer any questions on Wednesday because it was just way too crazy going on with real work on the way. Hopefully Thursday I'll be able to get some questions. I'll be able to open up three chambers on FanDuel, the DraftKings chambers. We got the bracket going on the app draft. And let's have some fun. With that said, I do need to get to bed. It's almost 5 in the morning. So, for the bailiff, this is the judge. Court is adjourned.